buying further in, and also because presumably it has decided not to intervene quite as heavily today, and that's where we are in Spain. Again, the yields are rising. So we've reached a broader turning point, Carl, where yields had been falling, and now we have an inflection point. I'm not sure where we go from here. Back to you.
Yeah, well, don't go anywhere. Bob Bassani joins me here on the floor, and if you were looking to blame this on this capital shortfall statistic that came out just a few moments ago, it's not dramatically different than the ones we've heard.
This is more of an art than science, and we were down 60, 70, almost 80 points, and dropped another 30, 40 as the news came out. And this is not official, by the way, as Simon accurately pointed out. This is a Reuters report, but I think we can go with this information. They're going to release it later. 114 billion euro capital shortfall. Everyone expected it today. The numbers I saw, 105, 102, they were all over the place. But this is an art. I don't think it was so far away from it. But we did weaken a little bit on the news here. I think the key story here was this one we had been talking about earlier, that Mr. Draghi acting not just as a central bank head, but as a politician, with the need to get those people in the European Union, the leadership of the European Union, to agree on some way to get greater oversight over their national budgets. And if he would have come out and made any comments that he was going to backstop anything, it would have been taking the pressure off them. Most of the traders that I spoke to felt they weren't expecting him to come out and say, I'm backstopping everyone, but they were expecting to continue to hold out the hope. That sort of backing away from his earlier comments a week ago, oh, you didn't quite understand it. I was a little surprised at how everybody kind of caught everybody by surprise. With that said, though, the damage is primarily in the financials. He highlighted, Simon did, about what was going on with many of the European banks. So we're down, put up some of the European banks here, down 6-7%. They all moved down here late in the day. And the U.S. banks also to the downside. There you see the moves on most of these big European banks, all down 5 to 7%. Not quite as bad with the U.S. banks. Simon, if you want to say something, let me know. I just want to put up the U.S. banks here and show you the decline here. The VIX, by the way, which has been under 30 all month, has popped up a little bit here. I would note now we're at 30 here. I'll take note of that. The volume again is crummy. That's the best word. It's been crummy for weeks now, a source of tremendous complaints. So for all these issues out here that have not been resolved here, we are not seeing massive waves of buying or selling. Basically, the market participants have stepped aside.
But we've been at these key levels. VIX at 30, like you say.
Right.
10-year here below 2 for at least momentarily. Simon mentioned Italy at close to 7.
Yeah.
So we continue to dance around these focal points.
Yeah, and I think a lot's obviously riding on tomorrow. We'll see what's going to happen there. But so far, it's been surprising. There's just deleveraging and degrossing going on everywhere. I talk to market participants all day long.
Okay, MMGs, I told you about liquidation and what happened a couple of weeks ago. I told you about collateral liquidation. I told you about debt liquidation. And I'm also letting you just hear what the general public consensus is compared to you being a market maker, but knowing that when that fear on that VIX is hitting 1 3/8 delta, stocks are all going to be short across the board. Now, outside of Google, which is probably one of the strongest trends out here in the broader internet sector, that's the sector in the indices that it's in, it's the strongest of its breed, but it's going to sell down because that VIX, which is really related to the S&P 500, the update is 8:36 a.m., 12/8/2011. You got Geithner over there with Merkel and Sarkozy, and you've got the Italy, Mr. Mario working over there with Geithner right now. The two of them are chumming it up, trying to figure out how they're going to save it. What about the Spain debacle? You need to know where that selling came. You need to see that fear indicator. When you've got rising VXN and fear indicators, that supports, and you're 30-24, so you're back above 30. And as we said, buy the rumor, sell the news. The thing of it is, they're squabbling over there with the ECB, and all of them are sitting over there going through their meeting process, but they didn't like what they heard. That's the volatility in the 2-hour morning update within the broader structure of Wall Street, where that fear is, where that short side, where that put side, where that call side is coming down to wholesale bids, calls that we gave out previously in the morning. You can't get net long until that VXN starts to change. Because even at the really good bottoms here, you can clearly see with this 2-hour tape This thing is stubborn. It's strong here with these diamonds here. I mean, it is strong outside of the European debt crisis analysis. I'm surprised that the internet can even work right now. There are so many headlines coming out. There's so many headlines in this tape. We'll be looking for that buying opportunity, but that fear has entered this market in the first 2 hours. Headline related MMT, and let it be known that at that negative 1/4 delta right here and now at 621.50, here is that bid and here is that ask, and that's got it pegged right freaking there, 621.50, 621.25 by 56. It is going to fall weak at the 1/4 delta. Our entries are at a 1/2 delta, and down here at 5/8 delta using that MMT platform. It's a zero tape. When you have a high fear indicator reading, you're going to stay at low levels on the equity side. For the long side, these IRs will remain weak as long as these are burning at 100%. That fear is in that tape, but you're holding that 1/4 delta there. We're down to buy it just where I showed it. Look at, you're selling off. The Dow Jones down 132, big sell program right after those headlines that you just heard on this video in the first 2-hour tape. Short side pays, low IR readings. Even the best of the breed is having a trouble holding that big support level with that fear burning. But look at this thing at that 1/4 delta. Look at that consolidation. If it caves in and falls below it, this is probably one of the strongest diamond support levels with the contagion fear, with the Dow and everything selling off. This thing here just is really incredible at that 621.37, 40 by 62. And what is that? That's that 1/4 delta in your platform, in your market maker platform. You're buying down here at a 1/2 and 5/8.